Attention switches to international football, where the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be in action against Rwanda and Benin Republic. With that, I welcome you to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolise. It promises to be another exciting time today where we give you nothing but the absolute best when it comes to analysis, information, and a bit of entertainment. There's so much to unpack, from the local scene down to the foreign scene, and in the world of tennis, Coco Golf reigns supreme. But here's what we're going to do. We're going on a short break, catch our breath. When we return, I'll be introducing my guy David, and together we'll dissect all that we have in store for you today. Welcome. If you're just joining us for the very first time, this is Sports Pizza. It's a show where we give you all of the latest information and analysis from the world of sports. Welcome, David. How you doing?
Edwin, a pleasure to be here as always. I'm looking forward to these international fixtures, although not with as much, fear or trepidation, because you realize we need just a point from two fixtures. I think we'll get it, and we'll get it over the line by just procession to the AFCON in 2025.
Or you're looking forward to the international break because Arsenal are winless in 4 Premier League matches?
No, I've kept Arsenal in the past. I'm full Nigeria now at this point in time.
All right, David, we're starting with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. They face Rwanda and Benin Republic. 10 points on the log. We need 1 point. Should we be scared?
Absolutely not. No reason for fear at this point in time. I mean, 1 point from 2 games. I'm going to make bold to say we'll get a win and probably a draw in those 2 fixtures that will see us, comfortably at the top of the table heading to 2025 Nations Cup next year. All
right, the conversation heading to this international window was that we didn't see enough of home-based players. Now, the head coach is indigenous, the assistant managers are indigenous managers, and there was this excitement that maybe this is the platform for, but you look at the players invited, only 1 player from the home scene.
Yeah, so I think I agree with those who feel that it's a sad one for, not to get as many MPFL players as you want, in fixtures of this magnitude where, a point is just all is required. Considering the fact the MPFL, the Chan Eagles have, qualifiers against Ghana for the Chan tournament in December, home and away. And I think the fact that only 1 player, Victor Collins of Nasarawa United, was invited, the manager said, it's because he's a left-footed centre-back. He gives them something different to the options there. But you look at a player like Sadiq Umar of Bristol City in the squad, somebody who has not been in good form. Yeah. And you have a striker like Sikiru Alimi of Remo Stars, who has been doing well for them, the top scorer of the league last season, also doing well this season. And his manager, coincidentally, is Daniel Ogumodede, who is the assistant manager to Augustine Guabon. So you think more of these players should have been invited. But again, some others will argue that most of these players are not regularly recognized. You want to take out some of the foreign-based pros. Who are you going to replace them with? The names are not readily available because we don't see much of these players. But hey, I guess it is what is the best of the best at this point in time to get the results needed. All
right, David, still with this conversation, it must be said that the coaches don't have a 100% say on who gets called up. It's a collaboration with the NFF and the coaching team. And you get a feeling that maybe the trust in the MPFL players is not totally there. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to get them called up. And that is why I think the whole let us have a quota system, I don't buy into it. If you are good enough, make it to the national team. But the national team should not be a place where you reward MPFL players for doing well or seemingly doing well in the league. But overall, aside from the MPFL players, any omission that you thought would have been a good addition to this side, or an addition that you felt should have been omitted?
Well, I think because of the nature of these fixtures and, considering the fact that the last 2 fixtures for the qualifying series, I don't think there would have been need for any major inclusions. One name who has been touted is Tolu Arokudare, who is doing well for himself in Genk, But I think the coaches are right not to have made any major inclusions at this point. Just execute these 2 games and then qualify for the Nations Cup next year. Then hopefully next year we can now start bringing in new players.
You know why it's going to be difficult next year? Because next year the international break are for World Cup qualifiers. And we're in a perilous position and with respect to the World Cup qualifiers. Finally, from the Super Eagles, we're going to come from the coach's angle. The NFF president came out and said we're still looking for a foreign technical advisor. He's trying to talk to a couple of sponsors who will foot the bill of the permanent manager. But then again, some have said, hey, Austin Eguavoen has done a good job. The team is on the cusp of qualification for the African Cup of Nations. Why not continue with him?
Well, I think for me, I'll just have to back the NFF on this one. I think the fact that they've made it clear that he's a foreign manager, they've abandoned all the ambiguity of, is he going to be Eguavoen, is he going to be a foreign technical advisor? I think they've settled on a foreign technical advisor. I just want them to get the very best. Fine, people will say Eguavoen has done a good job, but I think they probably want him to remain as the TD of the NFF, technical director of the NFF, and keep doing his job, and then bring in a substantive coach who really want to lead the team going forward.
All right, away from the Super Eagles, let's quickly touch on the NPFL. David, the biggest game in Yimba versus Remo Stars. Unfortunately, didn't produce the goods we thought it was going to produce. But for Remo Stars, they won't care. 1 point away from home against the title rivals, still sitting at top of the table. Yeah,
absolutely. I think for them, they will be the biggest winners of that fixture. 0-0, they didn't concede, kept a clean sheet away from home. At least it stemmed the tide of some of the terrible away results they've been getting over the past few weeks. So it's a good one for them. They still remain on top of the log, and hopefully their title charge still continues.
And for two relegation-threatened teams, Ikorodu City and Bayelsa United, both teams picked up massive wins away from home.
Yeah, absolutely. I want us to get to a level where, results like this, they're not outliers. They become the standard where you can go away from home and you play well and you get the results that you deserve. For Ikorodu City, I think the results have begun to uptick for them. Change the manager, getting a new manager, and the new manager bounce. Hopefully they can sustain it. And, they're now 5 points off the bottom of the table. Fantastic one for them. And fortunately for them, they're also just 5 points off the top 4 position. So the MPFL is quite precarious. As long as your results keep ticking over in the positive direction, the points really do not matter.
And what is the MPFL without controversy? This time it was in the Plateau United Rangers game, ended goalless, and we saw some really ugly scenes and pictures from that particular game. A player from Rangers was soaked in his own blood, and I know the LMC will get to the roots of this, and whoever is at fault should be fined and punished heavily. All right, let's go to the standings of the MPFL table. Remo Stars, Rivers United in Yimba and Niger Tornadoes make the top 4, while the bottom 4, you have Castina United, Nasarawa United, Lobby Stars, and Aqua United. At this juncture, David was saying bye-bye to the home scene. Let's do a bit of tennis. And Coco Gauff lifted the WTA Tour Finals where she defeated Kim Wen-zhen in 3 sets. Over 3 hours, David. It was a grueling one, but hey, Coco Gauff was the last woman standing, and she had a big broad smile on her face.
Oh, I'm really excited for. I think the key word, one word that has stood her career, I think especially from winning her first Grand Slam at the US Open in 2023, is consistency, organic growth. She has taken it. The fact that she's just 20 and she has had the kind of growth that we expect from a player of this. She has not had a meteoric rise, but she's done it the gradual way, and it's good for her. Since her US Open title, she has played in 7 finals and she has won all 7. She's 7-0 in finals. She's the youngest winner of the WTA Tour Finals, since Maresca in 2004. Fantastic one for her. Her growth is fantastic to see. But also good one for Kim Wen-zhen. I think she has had a fantastic 2024 Olympics and also her first Grand Slam final. So the 2 youngest finalists at the WTA Tour Finals, we have 22-year-old Kim Wen-zhen and 20-year-old Coco Gauff. The sky is really bright for good players.
Yeah, still with Coco Gauff, she is the youngest finalist at the WTA Tour Finals since Caroline Wozniacki in 2010, and of course the youngest American to win the WTA Tour Finals since a certain Serena Williams did in 2001. So at this point, we need to go on a break. When we return, we'll switch focus back to football, and this time we'll start at Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea and Arsenal played out a 1-1 draw. We're back to the second half of the show. My name is still Edwin Onyebolisi, and this is David on Sports Pizza. If you haven't followed us, please give us a follow. The social media handles are showing on your screens. David, 1-1 in ended at Stamford Bridge. Arsenal goal to go first. A much needed goal for Gabriel Martinelli, and Neto provided the equalizer for Chelsea. Is it fair to say on the balance of play, it was a result both sides deserved, or you think maybe Arsenal or Chelsea would have been disappointed after 90 minutes?
I think when you look at the results, you say Chelsea held Arsenal to 100 because Arsenal scored first, Chelsea had to club. But on the balance of play, Chelsea looked like, a little bit like the better side, even though both teams, struggled for any form of real quality. For 60 minutes in that game, you would have been forgiven for thinking you were watching something different, But after the goal from Martinelli, I think the game sparked into life, and we got a good final 30 minutes of the game. But I think on the balance of play, the chance Arsenal missed at the very last minute of the game, they feel they were hard done by, they could have gotten the win. But Chelsea were the better side overall in that game.
Let's do a bit of Chelsea, David. How impressive have they been since Enzo Maresca took charge? At this stage last season, there were a lot of uncertainties, but right now they are outsiders for the league title, and at best a top 4 side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest indication of how much progress has been made, this result, the fixture last season, this particular fixture ended 5-0 in favor of Arsenal. I think 5-0 to where they are right now, fantastic. Considering the fact that only Pedro Neto and Noni Madueke, were one of the players that were not involved in the fixture last season. So it's a fantastic achievement. And they are also level on points with Arsenal, who are supposed to be title challengers this season. It tells you all you need to know about the progress that Maresca has made with this team.
And for Arsenal, they're 9 points behind Liverpool, who are having a fantastic start to the season. On the surface, with the result, it's clear that Arsenal are struggling. But with a different perspective, maybe the criticisms will tone down. What is that perspective? Arsenal have faced 6 of the teams that finished in the top 10 last season, and 5 of those games have been away from home. Maybe when we look at it from that angle, the criticisms, the analysis that have been overboard will tone down.
Yeah, so I agree with you completely that, considering the quality of fixtures they've had to face this season, I think you feel hard done by to match them for how they perform. But when you look at how they've actually performed, you look underneath their performances, it has not been anywhere close to the level of performances that they showed all throughout last season. And that's why I think some of the criticism has come. But I think a lot of it has been overboard, and I think we need to put those fixtures into context.
From there, let's go to Manchester City, who are on a 4-game losing streak, the longest losing streak in Pep Guardiola's 16-year career. David, is this a bad phase or a proper rot?
I think it's a bad phase. The manager came out and said it's a bad phase, even though Bernardo Silva came and said they're in a dark place and he doesn't know how they're going to come out of it. But I think, there are a lot of issues. People have mentioned Rodri, people have thrown Kevin De Bruyne into the mix, even though he's back now. But then you look at the way they play and the way they concede. You can watch City games now and detect a familiar pattern, how teams are going to go at them. You saw Brighton clearly in that game. You saw it against Fulham. You saw it in the Champions League against Sporting CP. I think the patterns are there, and if Guardiola believes that they are not in a bad rut and it's something he can stem the tide of, hopefully this international break will give them opportunities to turn things around. Maybe a few players will come back from injury. But I think when those structural issues are existing, I think you can feel cause for worry for that team.
Let's talk about City's city rivals, Manchester United. Ruud van Nistelrooy's time as the interim manager is over. 3 wins, 1 draw in 4 games in all competitions. If you're Ruben Amorim, looking from the outside, how far do you think this United team can go with this set of players?
I think for Ruben Amorim and what Ruud van Nistelrooy has been able to show us, the Ten Hag period showed us some very dark times under Manchester United.
Truly dark times, David.
But what Ruud van Nistelrooy has been able to do in his period in charge, he has shined a little bit of light on that. Is showing that there are still some positives to be taken from that. We saw Garnacho at the weekend, one of the bright sparks. I think they had a bad time under Ten Hag. He didn't get the development he was supposed to get. But I think a manager will look at him and this is a player who I can take to the very next level. The talent is possibly there. And then you look at some of the other positions in the field, and this team is not as bad as Ten Hag made it out to be.
From there, we'll go to the Spanish La Liga, where Real Madrid defeated Osasuna by 4-0, and Barcelona lost to Real Sociedad by a lone goal. For Barcelona, this loss will come as a rude awakening. But on a broader level, do you think maybe Barcelona have overshot their XG, overshot their win ratio?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think this team came into the season and we did not expect anything close to what they've delivered this season. People expected this to be a season of consolidation as a league trying to build something, and they overshot it. But positive for them, they overshot it, which means they've given themselves some wiggle room to make some of these mistakes and still have a buffer at the top of the table. They got the disappointing loss at a period where Madrid had probably their best game of the season, and Madrid are still 6 points behind them. It tells you, that they've built themselves a good buffer for the rest of the season.
And for Real Madrid, they cut the points down to 6 points with a game in hand, but it was a Vinicius show. Is this the clearest indication, the most lucid and obvious sign that Vinicius maybe should play that central role and Kylian Mbappe goes to the left?
I think we saw it, a bit last season, where Vinicius, struggled at the beginning of the season to adapt to playing as a striker, and then he clicked into gear and had one of the best seasons of his career. For Mbappe, he has not shown anything much in his period, this brief period as a striker. Probably Ancelotti can make a compromise. Vinicius, who has done it last season, can also maintain it, while Mbappe plays himself into form from the left, where he can maybe regain some of the confidence he has lost, and hopefully for the benefit of the team, everything comes together. But
confidence is not short in the Italian Serie A. The top 6 teams are separated by 2 points, with Napoli leading the pack. David, is this the most competitive league in Europe's top leagues?
I think over the past few years, the Serie A has gone about, to reshape its view from the rest of the world. Showing that, one, they've become less of a outrightly defensive league to becoming an attacking league. Some of their goal scoring numbers over the past few seasons have been remarkable. They have some of the best compared to all the other top 5 leagues. So when you watch the Serie A, you see teams playing very well, and we've seen a lot of surprising teams. This season, Torino started the season like a house on fire. I know they've tailed off, but we have Udinese also doing very well. Lazio as well doing very well. Like of Napoli, Inter Milan, even Milan as well are struggling to get some results over the line. I think it's a fantastic one for the Serie A at this point in time.
And this is where we drop anchor on today's show. I'm sure you've had so much fun with us. They say time flies when you are having fun. We'll leave you with our video for the week. Do ensure you follow us on our social media platform. David, once again, thank you for being a part of today's show.
Yeah, cheers for having me. Always a pleasure to do with you, Edwin. From David, it's goodbye.
And from me, Edwin Onyebolise, it's been fun hanging out with you guys. We'll see you same time next week. Do have a sporting week.